What's up, fellas? Thank you for joining me today. So it's ridiculous if you go on YouTube and if you search Google Stadia is going to fail. There are multiple videos where people just stating Stadia is going to fail. And the crazy thing, so I would say about like 80% of these people have never even tried the service. So the way I view Google Stadia is like that kid at school that gets bullied a lot, and it's the fun and cool thing to do. And so because it's fun and cool and it's popular, everyone, wants to do it. And so I feel like there comes this one guy that does not take that nonsense, right? This one guy that protects the bullies. And I feel like that's where I come in. I am sick, absolutely sick of all of these videos with these guys who have never even tried Google Stadia and they're bashing it. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start a series where I do reaction videos and try to see, again, if these guys are right, I will give them kudos. But if they are not right, then I am calling out the BS. I can sniff BS, y'all. So I'm calling you guys out whether you like it or not. So here we go. Let me just randomly choose one of these, right? Look, this is insane. Let's see. Google Stadia's game price. Okay, let's start with this. All right.
Will take up virtually all of your time. So the pricing of Google.
All right, so we're gonna look into this. It's stated that I started it. Interesting. All right, so let's go. Reaction video time. 3, 2, 1, go.
Google Stadia was just announced, and to be honest, it could be better. But beyond the pricing, the biggest concern you should have is if you have an internet data cap. Because if you do and you want to get Google Stadia, the game streaming platform will take up virtually all of your data every single month. This is proof as to why we are not ready for cloud gaming to become mainstream. Let's get into it. Skip it up and that up. So Google had an official stream yesterday outlining Google Stadia, what kind of internet requirements you're going to need, pricing, so on and so forth. And I don't know how to feel. But anyway, let's get into it. Let's start off with internet speeds, what you're going to need, and why I think you're probably going to need more. But anyway, let's begin. So here is the graph here that Google has. It says Stadia supports a range of resolutions and internet speeds. So if you have an internet of 5 megabits per second, you can do 720p 30 FPS. The recommended minimum, they say, for Google Stadia should be 10 megabits per second. We can do 720p 60 FPS in full stereo. They recommend for 1080p 20 megabits per second. That'll get you HDR video, 60 FPS, and 5.1 Dolby Digital Surround. And then if you want to go all out and do 4K to get 4K HDR video, 60 FPS, and 5.1 Dolby Digital Surround,
that is correct.
You do 35 megabits per second, which there's a lot of people who do have internet that quick now. I have gigabit internet.
All right, so I dig this guy so far. It sounds like he knows what he's talking about. All right. Kudos, props.
Where I work at now. So I could definitely do that. But here are the other announcements that they made in terms of pricing and games, so on and so forth. This is coming from Kotaku.com. I'll have a link to their article below in the description. You can
Great site. If you guys haven't checked out Kotaku,
some stuff I think is cool. Some stuff I'm very mixed on. I think you'll know which is which because you're probably going to be like, are you serious too? So let's begin. Google announced Baldur's Gate 3 and Ghost Recon Breakout for Stadia. Nothing wrong with that. The latter with a new trailer. Don't worry, the former is also coming to PC. Other games announced include Guilt, an adventure game from developer Tequilaworks, and a multiplayer Overcooked-style game called Get Packed from Moonshine Studios. The Division 2 is going to be there. Stadia Pro is the official service at $10 a month, which will give you access to the service's games at 4K resolution, 60 frames per second. This won't include all games, though. Newer ones will be purchasable separately. You heard that right.
Okay. Stadia Pro is the official service at $10 a month, which will give you access to the service at 4K resolution, 60 frames per second. This would include all games though. New ones will be purchasable separately. Okay. Alright, you guys get that? Let's keep going.
And guess what? The games are going to cost you just as much as if you bought them on a PS4, Xbox One, or PC.
And why is that a problem? Interesting. Alright, let's keep going.
You're paying full price to play games in the cloud.
And that's a problem because... So you pay full price to own a game on Steam. What seems to be the problem? You pay full price on eShop, Nintendo eShop, to own a game on eShop. Is the only difference because it's in the cloud? Interesting.
Wow. I'm also not cool with this, dude. The controller is $70 standalone. Better be a damn good controller.
The Nintendo Switch Pro controllers up there too? Okay.
Then there's the Stadia's Founders Edition, which will launch later this year for $130. It comes with a Chromecast Ultra, a Stadia controller, a copy of Destiny 2, along with the Shadowkeep expansion, a 3-month subscription, along with a 3-month Buddy Pass. Other Stadia games include Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Doom, Doom Eternal, the new Tomb Raider trilogy, Final Fantasy 15, Darksiders Genesis, Metro Exodus, and many others. Now, Google says as of now, it's one person per Google Stadia account, but in the future, they're going to have family sharing plans, so they'll give you some kind of bargain.
Google says it's one account tied to Google ID you can access. Other than that, no sharing. It goes and reach that station. That's cool. I didn't know that. So thank you for that update. 2:43 p.m. So kind of like with just the Google Play Store, you can share with your family, and you guys can split if one person buys an app or a game. You know, other people can have access to it. I didn't know that. That's actually really cool.
Price eventually in the future. Like originally they didn't that wasn't said, but then Google's like, no, we're gonna have a family plan, we swear. So that should make people happy if you can actually afford with the data cap to get this. And at launch, if you're a Stadia user, you can play Stadia exclusively on Pixel 3 and 3a devices. However, you'll be able to create your account and make subscription and game purchases from any Android M Plus or iOS 11 Plus device that has access to the...
At launch, if you have a Stadia, at launch, if you're a Stadia user, you can play Stadia. Okay, we knew that. However, you'll be able to create your account and make subscription and game purchase from. Okay, so you can make purchases and okay. All right, sorry.
Stadia.
Just don't want to miss anything.
Here's a list of other games that are going to be available on Google Stadia. So it is what it is. I'm not uber excited about it. And the fact that they want you to buy games and purchase games separately instead of it being included in some kind of subscription plan doesn't sit well with me, but okay. But here's the other problem too. Is if you want to actually get the ultimate Stadia experience, 4K HDR 60 FPS, and you have a data cap, boy, oh boy, I got some bad news for you. This is how much bandwidth you are going to use for the different settings, say 1080p, 4K, 720p, how much bandwidth you're going to use per hour with Google Stadia. Get ready. If you want to do the top of the line 4K HDR 60 FPS streaming, it's going to be 15.75 gigabytes an hour for 1 hour.
A lot.
9 gigabytes per hour for 1080p and 4.5 gigabytes per hour for 720p, which even 720p after a while is going to add up.
True.
You want to know how fast you'll get to a terabyte of data on your internet if you're gaming at 4K on Google Stadia? Only going to take you 65 hours to do that. Now you could step down on Google Stadia to 1080p 60 FPS, and to reach a terabyte it'll take you 113 hours per month. But you may have to do other things on the internet besides play games, and if you have a 1 terabyte data cap, that's a problem. And that's the problem with cloud gaming right now. There's two reasons.
True. I agree with this guy 100%. I've made videos covering this. I believe my second video about Stadia concern is the data cap, and I believe this is a huge issue. So I feel like he's hitting this right on.
Why Google Stadia proves that cloud gaming isn't ready yet. First off, I talked about how much bandwidth you're going to need. And if you have a data cap, especially if you're trying to game in 4K, 65 hours in, you're going to reach a terabyte. If you have a terabyte data cap, you're done. Data cap, you can't go past it unless you pay some either exorbitant fee or whatever the case may be. And there's a lot of people throughout the country, at least in the United States, that have data caps. I think they're absolutely ridiculous. I think they're highway robbery, and it's the way for internet service providers to rob the consumer blind.
Okay, so he's saying this is why cloud gaming is not ready yet. And the first thing he's stating is because it's a data cap. So when is cloud gaming ever going to be ready, right? Somebody has to make a push to get all these companies to realize they cannot continue putting data caps, right? If Apple would have said, okay, we're making a streaming service, and Apple approached these companies, right, they'll listen to Apple and probably work on reducing the data caps. Apple has a power when it comes to implementing things, right? Like if you look at the Apple Pay, for instance, like that became a thing. I remember Google and Samsung were trying to push, Google Pay and Samsung Pay, and it wasn't until Apple's like, all right, we're gonna do this, and that became like the standard. If you go to grocery stores, most places have that now. And so somebody needs to make a push to get this data cap situation figured out. Apple is not doing it. So somebody needs to. So Google is actually taking the initiative to do that. So it's not a bad thing. Okay. And if we ever want to see this come into fruition, we should actually be applauding Google, not, putting an X and saying they shouldn't do it. We should say, go ahead. You have the power. You have the muscles. If anyone can do it, it's one of these companies. And I'm personally proud that Google is taking the initiative to do that.
But they exist, and until they cease to exist, if they ever cease to exist, cloud gaming isn't a viable option in those areas that have data caps. Luckily, for now, I don't, but who knows? That could change in the future if my ISP decides to get greedier, which they probably will. And secondly, here's why Google Stadia is going to fail. They're having the audacity to make...
He is so freaking confident that this is going to fail. Here's why Google Stadia is going to fail. Second reason why. What the fudge, bro? Have you played Google Stadia? This is one of my biggest complaints with these guys, bro. You haven't even played it. How are you going to sit behind the camera and the microphone and tell a company that they're going to fail if you haven't even tested the product? Just drives me insane. All right, let's go.
You purchase games for the same price that you would pay to go to a store and get a physical copy. Who sat there and thought that was a good idea? I want to know who at Google said, you know what? These games are just in the cloud. They're no one's actually going to get any data. You're not like when you're paying for digital distribution. You actually get the ones and zeros on your computer that make up the game. It's not like you're getting a physical copy. Let's make them pay the same price to have access to a game. Hey, Google, what happens if Google Stadia fails and someone bought 10 games for $60 each? That's $600, not including tax. What happens? Where do their games go? Where does their investment go? I know where it goes. It goes up into the thin air. Whereas if you buy a physical game...
Okay, let's finish
look,
this.
There's an argument to be made. Even if you buy a physical game, you still got to get the downloads and the patches, and sometimes the game is broken if you don't get them. I hear you on that. But at least you have something that's probably playable if you buy a PS...
Okay, I can't. Just being real, I can't take this guy anymore. What the fudge are you talking about, bro? Why is it an issue for Google to be charging for games? Why is that a problem? So the first reason he talked about was the data cap, which is understandable. But he said this is the second reason why Google Stadia will fail. He didn't say he thinks, he's like so confident that it will fail because of the second reason. And that's because Google is charging for games. It sounds like he has a hard time accepting that Google is charging for games because it's a cloud-based service, right? So Steam has a digital shop where they sell games full price digitally on Steam, but that's not an issue. Nintendo has the eShop where they sell full price games, but that's not an issue. Sony has the PSN, Xbox has the Xbox Live. They all sell games digitally full price, but that's not an issue. Now Google is going to be selling game digitally full price, but it's an issue because it's in the cloud. Bro, you are not making any sense. I get the fact that what happens if Google disappears, all your money will be gone. It's the same as any service. If Nintendo decides to go bankrupt like Sega did, all your eShop games are gone. Sony the same thing. Steam the same thing. Epic Games, Epic Store the same thing. Xbox Live the same thing. Bro, your argument is invalid. I can't believe this is your number 2 reason why Google Stadia will fail. I can't even finish this video. This guy just lost all credibility. I'm done. I'm really done. I have nothing else I want to say. This, bro, oh my gosh. Alright, I'm gonna calm down. This guy just lost all credibility, straight up. Does he make another point?
PS4, PS5, or Xbox. That's the problem with cloud gaming. They have to figure out the pricing. They have to figure out what to do with data caps. Look, I know why it's happening with the pricing, with games being full price. If you want to purchase other games, like you're buying them from GameStop or whatever, or Steam or